That's not helping. More water. But she's like that. Can you recommend a canoe? I think that's probably beyond your remit. Yeah. And Robin's emailed in and said, Ron, loved you in The Office. Have you ever thought of following in your son's footsteps and considering a career in TV?
I have considered it, but no offers came in, so I deconsidered it.
Fair enough. But I'm thinking there's a whole new, perhaps a daytime TV show, consumer daytime TV show. You could like Handy Andy.
Yeah.
Be amazing, wouldn't it? We need to come up with a nickname for him. You need to have a kind of comedy nickname if you're going to make it on TV.
Ron the Don.
Ron the Don. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. There we are. Done. Okay. Good. So we'll see if any commissions come in for Ron the Don's new plumbing program before the end of the news. 64046 if you are a commissioner and you'd like Ron to get involved in forthcoming TV projects. Okay, so we have to delve into the pigeonhole, find some new music. See what you make of this first one, which is what, Jude?
Bag of Hammers.
Bag of Hammers by Thao or Tao, we're not sure how to pronounce it. Anyway, enjoy. Thao is a 23-year-old Virginia-bred songwriter, and Bag of Hammers is the first single from her debut album, We Brave Bee Stings and All. It's released on the 14th of January. You, Harry, enjoy something that feels like it's just been thrown together in someone's garage, and so therefore you surely enjoyed that.
Well, I thought I was going to hate it, because it sounded like the sort of thing Little Dan would bring in, the first 30 seconds or so, but then the drums came in and I quite enjoyed it. Inoffensive,
brilliant, incisive. I know you have said this in the past, Mr. Rufus, that you've enjoyed things which sound like they might be fun live.
Yeah. Which is what I felt about that. It sounded a bit like Frente. Do you remember Frente? I think we played their cover of Bizarre Love Triangle a few times, and they're one of the only bands I know that have an exclamation mark in their title. Remember the Therapy used to have a question mark in their title. Do you remember that?
We've got 3 of them.
Yeah. Oh, that band. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm with you. Yeah. Got it. So it was really good, and it would have sounded fantastic live. And they sounded like they'd be really good in a little venue, a little tiny pub with lots of friends in. Yeah, it was great. I really liked it.
Do you know what I'm beginning to think? Rufus doesn't religiously read the NME every week. That's what worries me.
Yeah.
Sammy?
Yeah.
Me and Jude were both forced to play air drums and then air shaky eggs.
Air shaky egg?
I believe that was a good song. If a song makes you do something, and then more than one person do the same thing, there's something good about it.
Like the birdie dance.
A little, yes. And there was also a line in it which was, shake the paint off this house, distress the wood until it shouts. So I thought that's why it might appeal to you, Rufus, doing up your lovely new home.
Yeah.
So it's a good one to decorate to. There you go. That's my opinion.
Mum, what did you make of that one? You liked it? Good, incisive. They are like, so you guest edit the enemy this Christmas. Dad, you enjoyed that one?
I actually did. I thought the music this week is perhaps a bit more superior than some of the weeks, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, blimey. There we are. Strong words indeed. Yeah, he's going to divide the fans there. They're going to be a blaze on the message boards. And who cares? All right, after this trail, we have a single from Wu-Tang Clan. They're back. Have a listen. Using an interpolation of While My Guitar Gently Weeps, of course, and George Harrison's son Danny Harrison features on that track, along with John Frusciante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the vocals are provided by Erykah Badu. But it's the Wu-Tang all over it. There's some foul language we've had to clean up because my parents were in the house. Otherwise, they'd be effing and blind all over Six Music. And so there we are. It's from the forthcoming Wu-Tang album, 8 Diagrams, which the band itself have, some of the members actually have criticised the RZA's production. So I don't know whether they've some of them criticised it. They say it's a bit too mellow, a bit too chilled out, a bit too well cleaned up and polished for the Wu-Tang. You are a big hip-hop aficionado, Rufus. When you're playing that, perhaps on your giant lawnmower around the manor, will you be enjoying that one?
You're mocking me, but you know that I do like hip-hop. My hip-hop is always exactly 10 years behind what's actually current. For instance, I got the first Wu-Tang album about 6 years ago and really got into it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think there are some people who say you can't touch the Beatles. You can never ever remix or touch the Beatles. And there are some people who say you can't ever cut Shakespearean plays. You can't. There are a lot of. I'm not a believer in shibboleths. I think you can chop and change everything. I think postmodernism.
What is a shibboleth?
A shibboleth, I think, is something that mustn't be touched or mentioned or spoken about. I think I might be getting this wrong. The text will be going wild.
Yes.
Something kind of untouchable.
It sounds like something that the Wu-Tang would feature on one of their records.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Enter the shibboleth.
Yeah,
or
it does
something.
Yeah. But I quite like the Danger Mouse, the Grey album, the Jay-Z Beatles remixes. I thought they were quite good, but I think there's no point in doing that again unless you're going to do something new with it and something amazing with it. And I didn't think that was very good. And I also think I just wonder where the money's going. You know, when someone remixes a Beatles track, someone somewhere gets paid a lot of money, and it's either Michael Jackson, except he sold a lot of his rights to the Beatles.
Right, I'm not sure. He's got a bankroll, whatever he's up to at the moment.
But he bought a lot of the Beatles' rights, didn't he? And then, or it could go to to Paul McCartney, which means it's probably going to go to Heather Mills. McCartney. That's not great news either, is it? Really?
I'm on Heather's side. Actually.
Are you?
Well, you can talk about this later because I'm actually quite pro Heather. No, I haven't changed. I've always been pro Heather. Have I always been pro Heather?
I can't remember.
No, I remember those jokes you told me.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. You've got to remember, there's an on-air Steve and there's very much an off-air Steve.
But if Danny and Olivia Harrison are getting some coins for this nonsense, then all good.
Good luck to them. Sammy, you obviously a big Beatles fan. Anyone from the north is. You're obliged as you come out of the crib. What do you make of that tune, though?
It was excellent, apart from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, okay.
I really quite liked the cover, and I loved her vocals. I can't remember her name. You've just told me. It's terrible. Erykah Badu. And I've always been a fan of John Frusciante, which sounds like a fine wine. But I enjoyed it until they started just being vile over the top of it.
Being vile over the top? That's what hip-hop is. Come on, get a bit street, Sammy.
But
Are you being racist?
Beautiful.
Are you being racist? Let's move on, Harry. I'm sorry, I cannot allow this racism.
Well, the thing for me is hip-hop is at its most creative when it's using sampling to create something fantastic and new and fresh. And that just took the whole song and had a load of backwards talking over it, so I didn't really like it. It was no Gravel Pit, and the new Jay-Z one is getting my hip-hop props at the moment.
Ooh, okay, fair enough. Well, we'll leave you with this final tune from the archive. The archives? No, they're not in the archives yet. Will this one enter the archive? You're not a fan of it, are you? This is a Letter from God to Man, Dan Lassac versus Scroobius Pip. Does this feature a sample as well?
Radiohead.
It features Radiohead. Have a listen. Dan Lassac versus Scroobius Pip, Letter from God, featuring a sample of Planet Telex from the Bends by Radiohead. Before we get your opinions on that, we just have to say farewell to my parents. They're leaving. They got to catch the train. They're travelling home for Christmas, so we appreciate it. Sorry we couldn't solve more of your DIY dilemmas, but there we are. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the mince pies. Good. This show has sunk to such a self-indulgent level now that it's almost unbearable, I would imagine, to listen to. Anyway, so there we were, Scroobius Pip, and it's always, I think, kind of brave to have some sort of theological debate in a record. And you say that's available between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so you can get that as a free download between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I'm sure you can find it on the web. And so there we are. Strong words there from either Scroobius or Dan Lassac. I don't know which one was versing whom at what point. But yes, Sammy, your thoughts? Did it make you think? You racist.
Oh, I see you've made me feel like a terrible person. I don't want to say anything in case it's misconstrued. I love it. I heard that song about a week or so ago and I absolutely love it. I loved Baz Luhrmann's Class of 99.
Right, yes.
And that's a talky song. That's a song with an excellent tune and something to think about over the top of it. And that's exactly what that is. I love what they've done with Planet Telex. I love the mixing. I love the drums. I love how passionate he is about it. And I love what he's saying. I think it's a great song.
Well, that was a very, very eloquent synopsis of your opinions, and you have redeemed yourself from your previous BNP views.
Good for that.
You are a staunchly religious man, Rufus. We know this because you had to go to church and pretend to be a regular church attendee in order to get a priest to marry you in your forthcoming nuptials.
Yeah.
So it's just what God would have wanted for you to just pretend to be a church regular once in your life, and so therefore you no doubt have got strong opinions on that tune.
I hated what they did to Planet Telex because it's one of my favourite Radiohead songs, and I Jude and I were both stuck in our craw the way they flanged it and changed it and constantly sounded like the CD was ticking. And I am with you on theological debate being a valid part of kind of modern music, but I just think that it was kind of not articulate enough for me, and there wasn't quite enough new ideas there for me. But I like the idea of someone kind of rapping over a cover. No, you know what? I didn't like it. Didn't like it. All right, no, fair enough.
Funny enough, Rufus had to do that thing at church. My friend Marcus is doing that at the moment. He's getting married next year. He had to go last week to church for the first time, pretending he's a regular. And the vicar's one of these guys. He did. Right now, we'll have prayers for people in the village. Mrs. Smith, number 26. She's been quite ill for a while. I went through like a number of local people with problems, and then said, and we'll also pray for Northern Rock, and we'll have a prayer for all that missing data. Which I thought was
that
fantastic.
missing data. That is very nice. That's
See,
lovely.
Just adds a nice fresh angle to.
Well, yeah, you want to,
church going.
pull something from the, take a sideways look at the week's news, maybe sermon that you might be doing. That's fantastic.
But no, I quite like that. I'm a big fan of Le Sac and Pip. Their previous two singles I really enjoyed, and one of the highlights of the year actually, when we were in the Backslappers bar at Glastonbury. On one side, if I look to my left, there was the hamster Hammond, with people just stroking him to make sure he was all right post crash. But up on the stage with these two who did like a really raucous 20-minute set, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I've kind of followed them since then. And yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Good. Well, I think it's been a mixed bag in the Pigeonhole this week, and I think there's been something for everyone, including racists. So no, let's let it go now. There was no sign of racism. I was just winding you up. Just adding a bit of controversy to an otherwise a show that was perhaps a little soft. My parents, now they're gone, we can swear during the records like normal, and we can dance around nude or whatever it is we like to do.
I've been wanting to scratch myself for ages.
Do it. Formed in Brighton in the late 80s and featuring former Wedding Present drummer Sean Carman. That's the Pop Guns and their 1989 single Waiting for the Winter. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music, with me, Steve Merchant, and also we've got Harry works in a bank. What's the joke? Share it. Come on, you're all giggling away. They're trying to stifle it as I'm doing a serious link. What's going on?
Well, what happened is Rufus was dishing out the munchies while the track was on, and so I took a munchie, offered one to Jude. Jude said, "Oh no," but then I don't mind. I've not got to go on a microphone in 19 seconds, and you've got a munchie. And Ruth said, "Where's yours? Have you still got it? It's in your hand?" I said, "Well, no, I swallowed it like a duck." Like that.
Right.
He must have thrown it back and thrown his head back, snapped it back, and it gone straight down his throat.
And this has tickled you. You're in hysterics,
he's really
Sammy.
struggling.
I mean, it's like you've never seen or heard anything as funny.
He just seems so proud of himself. Oh, and I really thought you'd eaten a munchie hole. Well, that's me for the day. That's all I need to see. I come to the big city, and that sorted me.
Pull yourself together, woman, all right? Come on. This show has already become deeply self-indulgent. We should try and rescue it quickly. Last week, you may recall that I was a nominee in the 2007 Weird Crush.
This will turn it round.
Heat Magazine's Weird Crush 2007. It was my good self. I was up against James May of Top Gear. I was up against Anton de Beek.
ADB.
Yeah, ADB. And it was the other fellow.
Tony Beak.
Tony Beak.
Yeah, apparently that's his real name.
We could have used that as a dynamite link from the Duck thing. That would have been fantastic. If only we'd known.
The other one was the rubber-faced clown Matthew Wright.
Matthew Wright, yes. So we had Matthew Wright, and anyway, I can reveal in the current edition of Heat Magazine the winner of 2007, the Weird Crush, and I'm pleased to announce it is James May.
Check out that jumper.
James May there, who I believe, Sammy, you've got a soft spot for. Didn't you say that he would be your Weird Crush 2007?
Out of the three other people, yes, because the other three were weird.
That's me!
No,
What do you mean the other three?
shouldn't have been counted.
Oh, I
as a
see,
weird
right.
crush was my point.
Yes.
The other three were weird, so yes, I can understand it. Out of the other three, yes, he's the best.
So do you feel, I don't know whether to feel hurt that I wasn't Weird Crush 2007, or...
He looks like he smells of dogs.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his cars do as well. Real stench of
That's
dogs.
disgusting.
I think people spoiled their ballot paper when it came to you, Steve, because they thought, May, right, this guy he shouldn't be on the list. I'm not voting for him. Spoil the ballot paper, tear it up. That's
What,
what
when they saw my face?
Yeah.
I would like to see myself perhaps on a list with some more traditional hunks. Johnny Depp, Jesse Whatnot from Desperate
Metcalf.
Housewives, Jesse Metcalf, and, some other, I don't know, Gordon Brown, whoever's the thinking ladies' crumpet of late. But no, I was on that list. But you feel, should I feel bad that I didn't win? I just don't know. I don't know where I feel like
I'll be honest, I feel bad for you.
Thanks.
I don't think that's particularly fair, but maybe you're right. Maybe people have just taken offence. It's such a handsome man, as yourself, has
Thank
been
you.
put amongst
Thank
those
you.
other
Correct.
facial freaks.
Why is Sammy doing all the work here, guys? You're very silent. Rufus, you know something about good looks. You're not a bad-looking fella. You got the floppy hair, that sort of generic posh look. What was your take on it? Would you feel hurt if you hadn't won it?
No, I think you should be pleased to have won it.